The time has come for us to go back in time and review the very first WWE or WWF Survivor Series, and this took place in 1987. Fun fact, this went up head to head against Starrcade 87. Survivor Series was the better show, did the better numbers, definitely got more money or generated more funds. But was it the better show? That is the question we have to answer today. We already watched and reviewed Starrcade 97, so if you guys want to check that out, that is the very last video on this channel. I thought it was a pretty good show nonetheless. But let's get into Survivor Series. This is, of course, the very first Survivor Series, and we have Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. Now, back in this time, or in this very first Survivor Series, there were no other matches other than the Survivor Series tag team matches. There were no singles matches, there were no world titles matches, there were just the four, in this case, four Survivor Series style matches. With that being said, I think we can get into the very first one. Bear with me as I read out the names for these matches. So for the very first match, we got Brutus Beefcake, Jake Roberts, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Randy Savage, and Ricky Steamboat on one team as they take on Danny Davis, Hercules, King Harley Race, Ron Bass, and the Honky Tonk Man. Whew, that was a lot to say. Clearly the team with Jake Roberts, Brutus, Jim Duggan, Randy Savage, that is the babyface team, and clearly the team with Honky Tonk Man, Harley Race, Danny Davis, that is the heel team. The babyface team is absolutely stacked of note. The mid-card during this time was incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, just look at that babyface team again. Brutus Beefcake. I'm going to repeat it. Brutus Beefcake, Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, Savage, Steamboat. I don't know how Savage and Steamboat ended up on the same team, but we'll just accept it. We'll just accept it. Yeah, there was pre-match interviews. There was pre-match interviews for all the matches. Chaotic, absolutely chaotic. Just think about 5 guys trying to get their stuff in. Just doesn't work. Yeah, let's get into it. The Honky Tonk Man might be, for me, one of the most annoying characters in WWE history. I just wrote that as he was making his entrance. The silly dancing, the fact that we're supposed to take this guy serious. He's really annoying. I must be honest in that. But we'll accept him. He was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion until the Ring General Gunther made his name, or cemented his name in the history books and became the longest reigning IC Champion. But yeah, after all that, Ricky Savage, maybe that's their tag team name, Ricky Savage, Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage are on the same team. That interested me going into this match. But let's get going. Brutus Beefcake and Hercules start off the match. And it starts off hot with Brutus just clearing house early on. They're really trying to push Brutus at this time period after he recently turned face, of course, at WrestleMania 3, if you guys remember that, in one of our more recent reviews. Eventually, though, Jim Duggan and Harley Race get into the ring, but they eventually make it towards the outside and just stop fighting on the outside. Which leads to them getting a double countout, and that is our first elimination. So Jim Duggan and Harley Race have been eliminated, making it 4-4 on each side now. Macho Man then makes a blind tag to Brutus, allowing him to blindside Ron Bass with the high knee and getting the pinfall for himself, making it 4-3 to the faces. I'm basically just going to go through the eliminations, guys. The action, go watch it for yourself. It's honestly an enjoyable card, I will be honest. But to go through all the action, it's going to get monotonous and get boring. Honky Tonk Man then lands his shake, rattle, and roll finisher on Brutus for the pinfall, eliminating him, making it now 3-3. Jake Roberts lands a DDT on Danny Davis, eliminating him, making it 3-2 to the faces again. And then Steamboat gets the hot tag and clears house before tagging in Randy Savage, who lands the elbow drop on Hercules, eliminating it, making it 3-on-1 to the faces. So we got Randy Savage, we got Ricky Steamboat, and we got Jake Snake Roberts left as they take on Honky Tonk Man. But of course, Honky Tonk Man, being the chicken shit that he is, he gets out of there, races away, and he gets counted out for the victory to the faces now. So he did not want to get pinned, did not want to get beat up. It kind of makes sense, I'll be honest. Kind of does make sense. He was also 3-on-1. So as much as some people won't like that, it can be annoying, but I guess that's the whole point of it. So the winners, of course, were Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, and Jake Roberts as they survived the match. Exciting start to this match. The crowd was really, really hot for it. It soon then faded into a long, more drawn-out type of match. Not that the action was bad. The action was quite solid. Everybody had their chance to shine in this match, which was pretty good. And then Honky Tonk Man running away was really annoying, but it was very much in gimmick, so I accepted it. I gave the match a 2.75 star rating, so decent match for what it was. Maybe it could have been a bit better, but I do think the heels on the other side were a bit weaker than the faces. So the faces were always going to dominate this match. Enjoyable nonetheless. We then move on to the women's Survivor Series match of the night. Bear with me here, guys. Another deep breath. Let's go into it. We had Rockin' Robin, we had the Fabulous Moolah, we had the Jumping Bomb Angels, which was Itsuki Yamazaki and Noroyo Tateno. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And then Velvet McIntyre as they took on Dawn Marie, Donna Christianello, the Glamour Girls, which are Judy Martin and Leilani Kai. And then we had Sensational Sherry, the current women's champion. This was, of course, a Survivor Series 10-man tag elimination match. Firstly, the woman that I expected stuff from in this match, Fabulous Moolah, Velvet McIntyre, Jumping Bomb. Did I say Fabulous Moolah? No, let me repeat that. The woman I expected something from in this match, Jumping Bomb Angels, Velvet McIntyre, the Glamour Girls, and Sensational Sherry, and they all delivered. Everyone else was kind of just there, if I'm being blunt and honest, but those couple women really delivered. So Sensational Sherry and Velvet McIntyre start the match off with Sherry just attacking her from behind to kick things off. Velvet McIntyre with a head scissors into a roll-up gets the pinfall over Donna Christianello, making it 5 versus 4 to the faces. Early elimination as well. This match wasn't as long as the rest, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, but we'll get into my thoughts on this match. Rockin' Robin with a crossbody on Dawn Marie, which causes the elimination, making it 5-3 to the faces. So the faces dominating once again. But then Sherry lands a power slam followed by a vertical suplex to Rockin' Robin and gets the pinfall, making it 4-3 still to the faces. But that gap is being closed now. It's being narrowed. Moolah then gets blindsided by a clothesline by Leilani Kai and gets pinned, making it 3 versus 3 now. It's all even again. Judy Martin then pins Noroyo, but she bridges up and the ref counts 2. But the bell rings. The ref just kind of calls it off and waves it off. But the link between the Jumping Bomb Angels and the Glamour Girls was incredible. Absolutely incredible in this match. Honestly, the best women's wrestling I've seen in the WWF, hands down, by far, by miles so far in my retro timeline. Nothing has compared to what those 4 women have done. So in this match alone. Bridges. The commentary team was going wild for a bridge by the Jumping Bomb Angels, which just tells you everything you need to know. Velvet McIntyre then pins the WWF Women Champion Sensational Sherry with another head scissors roll up, making it 3 versus 2 to the faces. Getting interesting. Leilani Kai then lands an electric chair drop onto Velvet McIntyre, earning her the pinfall victory, making it 2v2 again, evening it out. And that means we have the Jumping Bomb Angels versus the Glamour Girls left. And eventually Noroyo, with a crossbody to Leilani Kai, steals a pinfall, making it 2-1 with Judy Martin being alone on her team. Itsuki then lands a top rope clothesline onto Judy Martin, giving the Jumping Bomb Angels the win. And they really, really, really impressed me. This was an enjoyable match. A very enjoyable match. I wrote here, this is the best women's wrestling match I've seen so far in the WWF. The Jumping Bomb Angels and the Glamour Girls worked really well together, and they certainly did not take it easy on one another. There were times I thought, these girls are working stiff. Is this turning into a shoot? And I do think at times, I wouldn't say it was a shoot, but there was a bit of competitiveness between them. And maybe a little bit of miscommunication, but that miscommunication just made it look like a rough struggle, but not in an awkward way. I gave this match 3.25 stars, and spoiler alert, this was my match of the night. This was my genuine match of the night. I saw people saying it was a good match, but sloppy at times. You know what? I thought that sloppiness attributed to it looking like a struggle and not looking choreographed. I really, really enjoyed this match. Thoroughly enjoyed it. 3.25 stars. Match of the night. It's the first time a women's match has been match of the night, and unfortunately, knowing the WWF, this is going to be a long time before we get that again. So let's appreciate that. We then move on to the next match, which was the tag team match, if that makes sense. A whole bunch of tag teams thrown into a big tag team match. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's read this out. This is going to be even worse. So we got Demolition, which is Axe and Smash. They teamed up with the Bolsheviks, which is Boris Zurkov and Nikolai Volkov. They also teamed up with the Dream Team, which is Dino Bravo and now Dino Bravo and Greg Valentine. The Hart Foundation was also on their team, which is Bret Hart and Jim Neidhart. And then we had the Islanders of Haku and Tama. They then all took on Strikeforce, which is Rick Martel and Tito Santana, the British Bulldogs of Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, the Killer Bees of Brian Blair and Jim Brunzell, and then the Rougeau brothers of Jacques Rougeau and Raymond Rougeau, and lastly, the Young Stallions of Jim Powers and Paul Roma. Yo, that was a lot. That was a lot to go through. But let's go through the match play by play, or elimination by elimination, I should say. So Nikolai Volkov and Rick Martel started the match off, but soon Tito Santana got tagged in and quickly lands his flying forearm to Boris Zurkov and gets him eliminated. This now makes it 10 versus 8 because in this match, if one person from a team gets eliminated, that entire team gets eliminated. So for example, if Bret Hart got eliminated, so would Jim Neidhart. Does that make sense? I think so. We then had Jacques Rougeau, who goes for a springboard crossbody from the corner but misses, so Axe simply just pins him, making it 8 versus 8 again. Smash and Axe attack Davey Boy over and over and over. Don't let him escape. I think one of them is only the legal man. The ref tries to break it up. They push the ref over. They get eliminated via DQ, making it 6 versus 8 now, I think, to the faces. Yes, 6 versus 8 to the faces. I like that because obviously Demolition at this time is really trying to establish themselves as these dominant guys. So getting pinned would just be silly. So good way to get rid of them in this match and still look dominant at the same time. We then get Jim Neidhart, who eliminates Tito Santana in what was a very odd pin. I'm not sure this was supposed to happen. But basically, I think when Bret broke up the pin that Jim Neidhart had, he broke up an initial pin, put it that way. Tito's head, he clocked Tito in the head and that dazed Tito. And then Jim Neidhart basically went for another pin and eliminated him. I'm not sure that's how that was supposed to go. But now it's 6 versus 6 in this match. Dynamite Kid then goes for a flying headbutt to Haku, but it backfires. Of course, you don't headbutt a Samoan. Although Haku, I think, was Tongan. He might be Samoan, forgive me. Haku then lands a thrust kick to... Haku then lands a thrust kick to get the elimination on Dynamite Kid, making it 6 versus 4. I had to just retrace my steps there. The Young Stallions make a blind tag and Greg Valentine tries to lock in the figure 4, but because of the blind tag, Roma lands a top rope sunset flip for the elimination, making it 4 versus 4 again. Ooh, Tama Tonga made it to the 80s, guys. No. Tama and Bret Hart tried to do some double team move onto Jim Brunzell with a drop kick, but that backfires and Jim Brunzell is able to roll up Bret Hart and make it 2 versus 4 in this match to the faces. Things then break down with all 4 participants in the ring, and then one of the bees put on a mask, one of the killer bees, and then they do some twin magic, and that ends up with another springboard sunset flip for the pin, giving them the victory. And post-match, then they both have masks on to confuse the ref. It's so obvious that you put masks on to confuse the ref. How the ref doesn't realize afterwards that these guys put masks on to confuse me is stupid. But I also don't know why the faces needed to cheat to win. I don't know. That one doesn't make sense to me. I guess it's a bit of payback, but I don't know. The winners were the Killer Bees and the Young Stallions. We saw some very good work within this match. It's no surprise considering the teams involved, but the match went on for so long. This was a very long match. 37 minutes to be exact, which is very long. And it definitely got boring at times, but the work was still very, very good at times as well. The final teams were also fairly weak compared to those that started in the match. It kind of felt like they were protecting too many teams, and the match got a 3-star rating. I think it could have been higher if certain things went a different way. We then got a Ted DiBiase video package where I assume Ted DiBiase is now coming into his own in the WWF. He hasn't been there for very long at all. And now the WWE is really trying to promote him more and more, and they're doing that on this pay-per-view. So they have him cut a pretty good promo in a limo while he's counting his money, and then that also cuts to him humiliating people on TV for money. So like he asked a woman to bark like a dog, for example. He let a kid bounce a basketball 15 times, but before he could bounce it the 15th time, Ted DiBiase kicked it. So yeah, they're really promoting Ted DiBiase here. I just wanted to point that out because obviously we're gonna get more familiar with Ted DiBiase in the WWF as time goes on. We then get Bam Bam Bigelow, Don Morocco, Hulk Hogan, Ken Patera, and Paul Orndorff versus Butch Reed, the Heenan family, which was Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy, and Rick Rude, and the One Man Gang, all in a Survivor Series 10-man tag team elimination match. Damn, that's a lot of words. Let's get started. So Don Morocco and Rick Rude start the match off for us. Hogan's team get a go at Rick Rude. Like just about everybody get a go at Rick Rude and absolutely destroy him. Rick Rude was a punching bag throughout this match. I will just point out, the crowd is absolutely incredible for this match. They are so hot for this match. They are so excited. I guess it's Hogan and Andre in the same ring, and all these other stars around them. But I'd argue that some of the men in here aren't as big as the mid card. The mid card match. They are big presence, but they are maybe like Ken Patera. Do we care? Don Morocco. Okay, that's Don Morocco's big name. Butch Reed. Like, do we care? Some of these names could have been in different matches, and some of those names from the very first match could have been in this match, in my opinion. But nonetheless, Hogan then drops the leg onto Butch Reed, eliminating him from this match early on, making it 5-4 to the faces. Paul Orndorff might be one of the most underrated wrestlers in my opinion, by the way. I wrote this in my notes. Just his work when he came in looked so good. Looked better than anyone else's. He made his moments shine. One Man Gang then clotheslines Ken Patera and pins him for the elimination, making it now 4v4. After getting destroyed all night, Rick Rude rolls up Paul Orndorff and eliminates him, thanks to King Kong Bundy kind of hitting Paul Orndorff from behind. This made it 3 versus 4 now to the heels. Don Morocco with a huge power slam to Rick Rude, earning him the elimination, making it 3 versus 3. Andre headbutts Don Morocco, and One Man Gang follows it up with a big splash, pinning Don Morocco and eliminating him, making it 2 versus 3 to the heels now. We then get Andre and Hogan going toe-to-toe in the ring, and the crowd absolutely erupts for this moment. But it doesn't last long as it kind of breaks down and they don't really get too much action on each other. A little bit, but not too much action. Hogan and Bam Bam start fighting Bundy and One Man Gang on the outside, leading to Hogan being eliminated via count-out and leaving Bam Bam Bigelow on his own. I do think One Man Gang was also eliminated. I'm not sure though. I might be wrong, might be someone else. Bam Bam then lands his slingshot splash on Bundy and eliminates him, making it 1 versus 2. So I'm wrong. One Man Gang didn't get eliminated. One Man Gang goes to the top rope and misses the splash, allowing Bam Bam to pin him for the elimination, making it 1v1. Bam Bam versus Andre the Giant. Bam Bam Bigelow was the lone survivor up until Andre beat him. Quick spoiler. But Bam Bam really had a good showing, and I think they were trying to push Bam Bam as a big name at this time, so they gave him that spotlight all on his own to get rid of King Kong Bundy and to get rid of One Man Gang. Hogan eventually does land an underhook suplex, sort of, which earns him the elimination and the victory for his team. Andre the Giant was the lone survivor winner, and after the match, Hogan comes rushing in and attacks Andre with the title, leaving the fans happy. Like, almost instantly he came rushing in. Which was obviously, it's a lot different to nowadays. Like, nowadays, WWE is not scared to end off on a heel moment. Back then, no ways. No ways. The match was hot and the crowd absolutely loved it. And it was the loudest they've been all night. The work was good and it had a decent pace throughout. Bam Bam Bigelow, for me, looked awesome as he fought to the very end against 3 of the WWF's biggest competitors at the time. I enjoyed the match. I gave it 3 stars. Thoroughly enjoyable match. Perhaps the work rate wasn't as high as other matches, but the pace was decent. The show was fun. A lot of good moments. I'm sure it was new to the crowd and exciting, something different, a new big show. The stipulations led to a more faster paced style, if I'm being honest, than what we're used to in the WWF. Sometimes things do go on for a little bit. Oh, no, I'm not even going to say the matches go on. Just the start, the work rate is often a lot slower than what it was in this match, but that's because people got time to rest. The woman showed up and put up a match of the night, in my opinion, which was not expected at all. And you know what? Having multiple matches of the same stipulation does make it monotonous towards the end, but I think the star power made up for it. The star power for sure made up for it. This was a good show overall, and I'll be honest, I can see why this beat Starcade 87 in terms of viewerships and in terms of revenue, because this had the biggest stars. This had so many stars on it. This had all new stipulations that people wanted to see. It was in a bigger arena. It was just set up to beat Starcade from the get-go. Would it beat a big show now, Survivor Series? Maybe not, because Survivor Series does feel like it is the forgotten Big Four pay-per-view, or the less importance. But then again, with the introduction of War Games nowadays, it has become more interesting again. So with that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. This is a slightly shorter review than usual, but there was only 4 matches, so what else do you guys want me to say? I already blabble on and waffle way too much, so we don't need any more of that. So with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one. And I do think the next one is going to be... Is it WrestleMania? No, the Royal Rumble. We're getting to the very first Royal Rumble. I don't think this was a pay-per-view. I think it might have been a TV special. Or this is the first pay-per-view. I'm not sure. We'll get into that pay-per-view or that show when it happens, and I'll tell you exactly what it was then. So stick out for that. Put those notification bells on if you guys want to see this. And I do plan on doing a little bit of different content throughout the channel. Some more shorts, but like informative type shorts, if that makes sense. And I'm planning on every now and then, maybe like once a month if possible, doing a big video, like a documentary style video, or like a video essay style video. So with that being said, we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.